For most of the last century, one number meant you had made it, $1 million. A millionaire was, by definition, rich and free to stop working. Today, a $1 million nest egg might not even fund an average, comfortable retirement. Nothing went wrong with the million. The world around it changed. Let's run the actual math and see why. Start with the rule every planner uses. The 4% rule says that to make your savings last about 30 years, you can safely withdraw roughly 4% of it per year. Run that on $1 million and the answer is sobering. $1 million does not give you $1 million to live on. It gives you about $40,000 a year. Now put that next to what a normal household actually spends. The median U.S. household income is around $80,000 a year. So a full $1 million in savings produces an income of roughly half of what a typical working household lives on today. The millionaire retirement, in raw spending terms, is a middle-class life at best. And it gets worse with time, because of inflation. At roughly 3% average inflation, prices double about every 24 years. So the $40,000 your million produces today will buy closer to $20,000 worth of goods by the time a retiree is in their late 80s. The nest egg does not shrink on paper. Its power quietly halves. Inflation matters so much because retirements got long. A 65-year-old today can expect to live into their mid-80s on average, and a large share will reach 90 or beyond. That means planning not for 10 or 15 years of retirement, but for 25 to 30. The money has to stretch across a span almost as long as a career. Then there is the cost almost everyone underestimates: healthcare. Studies estimate that an average 65-year-old couple retiring today will spend around $330,000 on healthcare over their retirement, and that is on top of normal living costs. For many households, that single category can swallow a third of an entire $1 million nest egg. Now, you are not entirely on your own. Social Security helps. But the average retired worker's benefit is only around $1,900 a month, roughly $23,000 a year. It was designed to replace a portion of your income, not all of it. It softens the gap, it does not close it. Add it up for one person. $40,000 from $1 million nest egg, plus about $23,000 from Social Security, lands you near $63,000 a year, before health shocks and before inflation eats in. That is fine, but it is not the carefree wealth the word millionaire once promised. It is a careful, middle-income retirement. So what number would actually replace a normal income? To safely draw $80,000 a year using the same 4% rule, you would need a nest egg of about $2 million. The target that used to define being rich has, in practical terms, quietly doubled. 1 million is the new comfortable. 2 million is closer to the old idea of done. And that target keeps drifting upward, because inflation never stops. The amount you need to fund the same lifestyle rises every single year. A goal that felt impossibly large to your parents is becoming the baseline for a secure retirement today, and a larger one still for anyone retiring decades from now. Here is the part that is actually hopeful. The reason the target feels impossible is that most people picture saving the whole amount out of their paycheck. You do not. Markets do most of the heavy lifting. A broad index has historically returned around 10% a year, which means money invested early can roughly double every 7 years on its own. Compounding is why time matters more than income. Invest a few $100s a month starting in your 20s, and growth, not your salary, builds most of the final number. Start the same plan in your 40s, and you have to save several times as much to land in the same place. The single most valuable asset in retirement is not money. It is the years you give it to grow. So the headline is not that $1 million is worthless. It is that the goalposts moved, and the rules of the game reward one thing above all: starting early and owning assets that grow. The million is still a milestone. It is just no longer the finish line your grandparents thought it was. It gets more urgent when you look at how little most people have saved. Studies find that nearly half of U.S. households aged 55 to 64 have no dedicated retirement savings at all. Not too little. None. For them, the $1 million debate is academic, the real question is whether they can retire on Social Security alone, which was never the plan. And leaning on Social Security is risky, because the program itself is under strain. Its trust fund is projected to run short in the early 2030s, after which it could only pay a reduced portion of promised benefits unless the law changes. The safety net most people quietly count on is, by its own trustees' math, not fully funded for the long run. That matters because so many retirees depend on it heavily. Around 4 in 10 older Americans rely on Social Security for the majority of their income, and a significant share lean on it for almost everything. When a program covering that much of retirement is itself underfunded, the case for building your own nest egg stops being optional. Pull it together and the gap is stark. The comfortable target has drifted toward $2 million, while the typical near retiree is nowhere close. That distance, between what is needed and what is saved, is the real retirement crisis, and it is exactly why starting early and letting markets compound matters more than almost any other money decision you will make. Which leaves one honest question. Given longer lives, stubborn inflation, and rising health costs, what is your real retirement number? Run your own spending through the 4% rule and tell me in the comments what you get, because the first step to hitting a target is finally knowing what it is.